There are 3 chances for Silksong news this week, and I think we'll get a Silksong trailer and also be presented with the release date itself, but it might not be where or when you think it will be. My name is stizzl and I am your host for today's Hopium session, and today we will answer the question, is this it? Is this the week where all the uncertainty will finally end? Is this the week in which we will finally get a release date? Let's find out now. But first, why should you believe me in the first place? Well, because all my speculations this year have turned out to be correct so far. And even though it wasn't like I predicted anything crazy, I still deserve some slack for now, I think. But feel free to quote me on that so you can more efficiently dunk on me in a week's time if things go south. But now, let's get started. There are 3 possibilities for Silksong this week, so let's go through them one by one, starting with what most think is the most possible, which I think is the least possible. The Summer Game Fest. The Summer Game Fest 2025 will take place this Friday on 2 PM Pacific time, which is the local time in LA where the showcase takes place. And it is basically the spiritual successor to the E3, which makes it the new, biggest gaming showcase of the year. Led by Jeff Keighley, who is also the man behind the Game Awards, this showcase will, showcase some of the biggest upcoming games. And Silksong would be the perfect fit for it, right? It is the most wanted indie game at the moment and has been at the top of Steam's most wishlisted games for eons, and thus deserves this great stage. But there's a problem. A 1-minute long trailer costs $250,000 at the main show, and simply put, even though Team Cherry could afford that due to Hollow Knight's insane success, I do not think they will, because Silksong is big enough that it doesn't need this stage in order to get noticed. There is a different stage it could use instead, which will be cheaper and is still basically as big in terms of viewership. So yeah, I do not think an indie studio will necessarily pay $500,000 for a couple of minutes of coverage when they don't have to. That said, I do not think that prices for trailers are too high, but I do think it discourages indies from trying to get their share of the spotlight, so maybe Summer Game Fest should propose different rates depending on whether the company is a small indie studio or a billionaire empire. Anyway, let's move on to number 2, the one almost none of you are even aware of. Technically, all 3 of the possible places Silksong can show up, this second one included, are under the Summer Game Fest umbrella, but of course different terms and conditions apply when being part of these other 2 showcases as opposed to being part of the Jeff main show. So if Silksong would be part of the following showcase, they would probably not have to pay $250,000. This second showcase on Saturday at 4 PM Pacific time is the outlier. This is the wild card, it is the crazy option, it is the silly Dark Souls 2 to your serious Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3s. This is the Frosty Games Fest, a smaller showcase which airs for the first time this year. Why would Silksong appear there? Well, let me read the tagline for the showcase because it's all you need to know. Cool shit made in Australia and New Zealand. And Team Cherry are from Australia, and that's all you need to know. Now, this showcase is a smaller one of the smallest one of the entire weekend, surely, and I honestly cannot tell if Team Cherry would consider showing up there or not. This showcase is definitely more for games that maybe don't have the biggest international connections or the insane funding and budget, so it rather fosters their local developer community, and I think that that's great. And I thus think that while it is not entirely unlikely for Silksong to appear there, showing up there would just steal the spotlight from every other indie game there. So I honestly don't think any of the involved parties necessarily would want to do that. So there's one more showcase that I think is more likely to be the one where we will finally get Silksong's release date. But real quick, look at this for just a second. This is my search for Hollow Knight's Last Secrets, a video in which I showcase Hollow Knight in ways you have never seen before. This is, I think, the best video I've ever made, and I put dozens, if not hundreds of hours into the research and recording and scripting and editing of it. The people who've watched it have really enjoyed it so far, the feedback has been very lovely and so heartwarming, so if you love Hollow Knight as much as I do, please give it a watch, it would mean the world to me. I am really proud of that video. And thanks for indulging me for a sec, now back to the topic. The last possibility where Silksong could appear is the Xbox Game Showcase on Sunday, 10 AM Pacific time. I think this one might be it. Team Cherry has had a close and good relationship with Microsoft over the years, and the last full trailer was with Xbox at the Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase exactly 3 years ago. And with Silksong coming out sometime in 2025, I do believe it would be the perfect time to break the silence there. And additionally, the leaker Ecstasis, who was right about everything shown at the Game Awards 2024, says that Silksong is scheduled to feature at the Xbox Showcase, and given his track record at recent events, I'm inclined to take this as another factor making Silksong appearing this Sunday more likely. The Xbox Game Showcase also draws similar viewership numbers as the main show on Friday, and there's not the same fee system for trailers in place, at least as far as we know, so this is literally the best possible place for Silksong to appear. So yeah, this Sunday is my pick for Silksong news and my pick for when we will get Silksong's release date. That said, let me know whether you think Silksong will be shown this weekend, what your personal reasoning is, and who of us is huffing more copium. Thanks to my Patreons for being lovely and, dare I say, awfully handsome today. And I will be seeing you at the end of the week, either in a dusted off clown wig or with chains that have finally been broken. Until then, watch my Silksong theories or the video I told you about a bit ago, and also subscribe for updates on Hollow Knight the Sanctuary, the fan-made expansion of whose development team I am a part of, and which will have news sooner rather than later. But for now, thanks for watching and take care.